So the OJ Howard trade rumors are being brought up once again as a lot of people are speculating as to whether or not OJ Howard will be traded in this upcoming 2020 NFL draft, which is a couple of days away, by the way. So yeah, I'm here talking about this once again. I feel like it's like my fourth video on the topic. We've been talking about OJ Howard trade rumors for I feel like a year now, but as new types of discussions come up involving this topic, the more I'm just going to continue to be making videos on this topic. So first thing I want to say on the OJ Howard trade rumors is I've seen people on Twitter say that the Buccaneers are shopping OJ Howard. I have no idea the validity to that term because that is a very, I don't want to say touchy term to use, but it definitely says a lot, okay? Whenever you're shopping somebody, that proves that you just don't want that guy no matter what, okay? And I simply don't believe that. I feel like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could and should still use OJ Howard on this team, and I feel like from what I've heard from Bruce Arians and Jason Licht in respective press conferences, I don't really get the feeling that they're willing to move on from OJ Howard yet. Just to paraphrase here, first talking about Bruce Arians and one of the more recent press conferences that he gave, he said that OJ Howard should be really excited to be working in this offense with Tom Brady as his quarterback right now, but he still needs to go out there and earn the trust of a guy like Tom Brady, and that makes sense. Regardless of whoever is your quarterback, you need to earn their trust, especially when that quarterback is Tom freaking Brady, but OJ Howard is somebody who could benefit greatly from being in this offense. I know Bruce Arians tends to not use a ton of tight ends in his offense, but Tom Brady loves throwing to tight ends in his offenses, and Bruce Arians came out and said whenever they signed Tom Brady that they're going to try a little bit of both theories, in terms of how the offense is going to be run. They're going to be doing a little bit of what Tom Brady likes to do, they're going to be doing a little bit of what Bruce Arians likes to do, they're going to meet somewhere in the middle, and I feel like OJ Howard is one of the guys who's going to benefit most from that meeting of the minds between Tom Brady and Bruce Arians. Now, going to a recent press conference that Jason Licht did, he was also asked about what he could expect from OJ Howard in this upcoming season. And again, to paraphrase, Jason Licht had essentially said, I'm really excited to see what OJ Howard can do in this second year in Bruce Arians' offense with Tom Brady as his quarterback. I think he's going to do very, very good. And it makes sense as to why Jason Licht would really be gunning hard for OJ Howard, because quite frankly, OJ Howard was a luxury pick back in the 2017 NFL draft. Jason Licht came out and said, holy crap, we did not expect OJ Howard to be here, and of course he would want his first round draft picks to succeed, because here's one of the biggest, trip ups, one of the biggest obstacles I have as to, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers trading away OJ Howard. If Jason Licht were to trade away OJ Howard, that would be him admitting that he has missed on half of his first round draft picks since he's become a general manager for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because in 2014, he drafted Mike Evans, then he drafted Jameis Winston, then Vernon Hargreaves, then OJ Howard, then Vita Vea, and then finally Devin White. Now, Jameis Winston, Vernon Hargreaves, they aren't on the team anymore. That's already 2 misses. I know technically Jameis Winston wasn't a miss, but he's not on the team anymore, okay? So, flat out, kind of a miss. So, but in terms of, trading away OJ Howard, you don't have to do that, okay? You don't have to admit that you missed on OJ Howard. Oh, sorry guys, I messed up on half of my first round draft picks. Whoopsie, my bad. You don't have to do that. You didn't have to do that with Jameis Winston either. I still don't think Jameis Winston was necessarily a bust for this team, but he's still no longer on the team. The point I'm trying to make is it's not a great look for Jason Licht if half of the first round draft picks he has made since he became general manager are not on the team anymore, and it's only been 6 years, okay? That's not a good look. I don't care who you are as a general manager. If you're missing on half your first round draft picks, they're not on the team anymore. What does that say as a reflection of how that general manager is at drafting players? That's just my thoughts on that. Another reason I feel as to why the Tampa Bay Buccaneers probably won't trade OJ Howard, although, I don't know, man. I'm still a little bit torn on it. I'll give my thoughts on that in a second. But one of the reasons I feel they shouldn't trade OJ Howard, I guess I should say, is because you just brought in Tom Brady. What does Tom Brady need? He needs weapons, okay? One of the biggest reasons he came to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was because of all the weapons the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Cameron Brate, OJ Howard, Ronald Jones, those are guys that Tom Brady can use and use really darn well. Now, there's a couple of pieces that can still be added. You have some certain guys like a complimentary receiving running back, maybe a third wide receiver, among others, but that group of guys that I just mentioned is a part of the reason as to why Tom Brady came to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the first place. So why would you feel the need to trade away one of your top weapons with, some of the most potential on this team right now? Him and Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, you can argue, are the top 3 receiving targets. Why would you trade away, one of your top guys who still has some insane amounts of potential, has the potential to still be one of the better receiving tight ends in the NFL, and is still on his rookie contract, okay? That doesn't make a whole ton of sense to me. And I know people will argue, well, James, if the compensation is there, they should very heavily consider pulling the trigger. I understand that completely. I understand if the compensation is there, the Buccaneers should consider trading O.J. Howard. But he was taken with the 19th overall pick back in the 2017 NFL Draft. I don't think you're going to be getting a fair amount of compensation for O.J. Howard. Now, I've seen some people, speculate, and shout out to Evan, co-host of the Cannon Fire podcast. Me and him talked about this on Twitter. He speculated as to a mid to late second round draft pick could be got for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for O.J. Howard. And, I just don't see that. I really don't. I'm not knocking anybody here. I just don't see the Buccaneers being able to get a second round draft pick for a player like O.J. Howard. One of the examples I made on Twitter, which again, hey, if you guys haven't followed me on Twitter, at MrBucsNation, but one of the biggest examples I gave of a recent first-round draft pick whose, trade value has just plummeted was Josh Rosen with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, he was traded for, I believe, a second and a fifth-round draft pick when he was traded from the Arizona Cardinals to whichever team he went to after that. I think it was the Miami Dolphins. He's still on the Miami Dolphins, so it must have been the Miami Dolphins. But yeah, it wasn't a good look. Former 10th overall pick, I think, in the draft that happened after O.J. Howard's draft, and the guy was only getting traded for a second and a fifth round draft pick. Now, O.J. Howard is not a tight end, or he's not a quarterback, sorry. O.J. Howard is not a quarterback, and he is in a draft a year, before Josh Rosen, so he has another year on the tires, so to speak, okay? I don't think you could get a second round draft pick for O.J. Howard, and I know that sounds pessimistic as hell, and I apologize for that, but I don't think the trade value is going to be there to justify trading a former first round draft pick, especially a guy who was taken 19th overall. But regardless of how I feel about this, I do want to talk about some of the scenarios that people have been mentioning. The first thing that people have been mentioning is, the Buccaneers could get a draft pick in this upcoming draft, much like what I said, a second round draft pick, maybe a third round draft pick, or heck, maybe they'll even do a player for player swap. I've seen, loads of scenarios. One popular one that has been mentioned a little bit is just O.J. Howard for Leonard Fournette straight up. Book it. That's what a lot of, Bucs Twitter has been mentioning. That one could be interesting, although I don't necessarily see it. Leonard Fournette is going to be needing a new contract here soon, and I like Leonard Fournette as a player, but that Jaguars locker room gives me a lot of weird vibes, okay? I feel like a lot of the young guys that were drafted to be a part of that team were all kind of locker room problems, and I feel like Leonard Fournette contributes to that a little bit. I don't think he would fit with Tampa Bay. One heck of a running back. I love Leonard Fournette. I think he's a great running back. I just don't know if the personality is all there to gel with what this team is doing right now. Some more popular trade things that have been mentioned is, hey, maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could package O.J. Howard in a move to move up in the draft, okay? Now, I will be making a whole separate video talking about that, specific type of scenario, whether or not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should trade up in this upcoming draft, but a popular one has been, hey, pair O.J. Howard with a second round draft pick and move back into the first round of the NFL draft, or pair O.J. Howard with their 14th overall pick and then move up later into the first round, from pick 14 up, and then select one of the top tackles that you want. Those are both interesting scenarios. I would say the first scenario I mentioned is more likelier than the second scenario I just mentioned. I think that using O.J. Howard in a second round draft pick to potentially trade back into the first round is way more likely than using O.J. Howard in the 14th pick to move up into, like, say, the top 10 or maybe even the top 8 picks in the first round. Okay, I think using O.J. Howard to trade back into the first round is way more likely. Do I think it's going to happen? I would say that is the most likely scenario out of all the things I've been seeing. is using OJ Howard and their second round draft pick to get back into the first round and get another player that the Buccaneers covet. Maybe it's a running back, maybe it's something else. Who knows? I have no idea, but I think if you get an offensive tackle with the 14th overall pick, which I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to do, then, I don't know. I still don't think it should happen, but I would feel a little bit better about, trading away OJ Howard, trading away a second round draft pick, getting back into the first round, then getting another player, be it on the offensive or defensive side of the ball, who could benefit the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They'd be on a, very long rookie contract. You'd still get some type of value back for OJ Howard. At least it'd be some, it's technically a first round draft pick, so it'd make me feel a little bit better. But, that would be the most likely scenario, I would think, is using a second round draft pick and OJ Howard and maybe something else if you have to move back into the first round and pick another player in the first round of this upcoming draft. But guys, to put a nice, neat little bow on all of my thoughts of what I think about a potential OJ Howard trade, I don't think it should happen. I think that OJ Howard benefits a lot from having Tom Brady as his quarterback. I think that Tom Brady benefits a lot from having OJ Howard as one of his tight ends. And I know everybody's going to point to Cameron Brate, and I love Cameron Brate, but why not keep both of them? You have the money. OJ Howard's still on his rookie contract. Just keep them both. This isn't rocket science. And I fully 100% believe that if OJ Howard were to go to another team, he would be one of the players that would make Buccaneers fans go, oh my gosh, we blew it on this guy, okay? I 100% believe that without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. OJ Howard would be one of the players to get traded away from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and really just make us go, geez, look what we could have had if we would have just kept, OJ Howard. I fully believe that. So, I think it benefits Tom Brady. I think it benefits the offense as a whole. Tom Brady needs weapons, and OJ Howard is one hell of a weapon, and I just don't think the compensation will be there to justify some type of trade. And I think if you're Jason Light, you don't want to basically admit that you've missed on half of your first round draft picks since you've been the GM, and it's only been 6 years, and you've already, don't have 3 of your first round draft picks that you made. That's not necessarily a good look for Jason Light. So that's just kind of my thoughts on the entire situation. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. I'm going to be having a couple more videos coming out here very, very soon. It should be a lot of fun. But guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. Now we'll see you in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always guys, goodbye for now and go Bucs.